Hello, friends. This is a podcast to wrap up Chapter 1. Okay, you have a bunch of terms there at the end of the chapter in the summary section that you should read. You should know the terms. I'm just going to jump on board here and try to summarize real quickly what's going on. So we're getting data, which is numbers with meaning. And when we get a list of numbers, a list of data, we're going to call that a distribution. When you get a distribution and you're asked to analyze it, the first thing that should jump into your mind is GSOCs. Okay, gaps and peaks, shape, outliers, center, and spread. Okay, gaps are just what they sound like when you look at the graph. The shape can either be symmetric, it can be skewed right or skewed left. Outliers, we now have a formula to get that by hand. We can also put it in the graphing calculator and have that do it for us. We're going to have to say what the center is. That's always going to be the mean and the median. And the spread can include three different things. We can get the range, which is the min and the max, the interquartile range, which is Q1 to Q3, that's the middle half, and now we've got the standard deviation also to think about. So you should have all that in your hip pocket. Now, once I get this distribution, first thing I'm going to do is make a picture, because I cannot get the shape or the gaps and peaks generally by looking at the data. I need a picture. So you should know what all the different graphs that we've used are. You should be able to make them either by hand or on the calculator. And if I give you one, you should be able to interpret it. All right, so when I ask to interpret a distribution, we're going to talk about all these GSOCs things. Okay, so make sure you have all that. My board's a little out of alignment here. Then the last thing that we talked about is, how do I know which tools I can use? Okay, and then what I'm looking for is, are there outliers, and do I have a symmetric distribution? The mean and standard deviation right here, that is a much more powerful tool than the 5-number summary. 5-number summary will always work, but I can only use this if I have a symmetric distribution with no outliers, or maybe one or two outliers if it's a lot of data. But in general, I got to know what these two sets of tools are and when I can use them. If I look at a distribution like this is the common stocks compared with the treasury bills in the book, what I should be able to do is count, see that there are exactly 54 numbers. And that means if I go to the first 27 halfway, which is right here, that's where my median is. I have to take the average of those middle two numbers. I can see that my smallest number is negative 28. And then because I've divided with the median into 27 numbers, the middle one, which is the 14th number, has to be the Q1, and the 14th number from the median going up has to be the Q3. So you should be able to do that. You should be able to use the IQR formula to establish that there are no outliers in this, because if I calculate this out, I can see it would have to be above 67.5 to be a positive outlier, and the negative outlier would have to be negative 40.5. And I don't have any numbers that big or that small, so I got no outliers. So this is a distribution where I could use my mean and standard deviation to describe the data usefully. Okay, if I look at this one, which is the treasury bills, I've got a gap right here, which suggests that this is an outlier. All right, and I'm also clearly skewed to the right. You can see there's a few large numbers down here that make this not a symmetric distribution. So in this one, I'm limited to the 5-number summary. So if I put those two together and compare, all right, that's one of the things I'm trying to decide. So this one, I can use mean and standard deviation. This one, I'm limited to the 5-number summary. Okay, I'm going to do this in the second podcast, take you through comparing two distributions and try to make some decisions about corn.